Welcome back. So I hope you're all staying safe at the current climate. I've taken a little break myself because of the lockdown, but the videos are back now, and here we go. So recently, I run a competition for a group on Facebook. I'll see if the person can add the group if she wants you to join it or not. I don't know how it works, but I offered a competition because the group is growing and the group supports the channel tremendously. Many of the subscribers from that group are already affiliated with the channel, so I thought, as a part of giving back, let's throw a competition and let one of the group attendees attend a weekend workshop via Zoom. I left it entirely up to the group admin and the video idea. The winner could then come on, and the winning video idea was from Danielle Filler-Fett. I think that's how you say it. I've probably messed that up completely. But her video idea was, what's the top 10 moments in mediumship for me? And she let it cover across the board. That could be bloopers or magic moments and all that kind of stuff. So I've gave it a little bit of thought, and there's not really, I don't think I can do 10 in all honesty, but all the magic for me was very, very early on. It's still magical today, don't get me wrong, but those wow moments when your mind is first opening up and when you're first being introduced to the spirit world, kind of, they stay with you for forever, don't they? So I'm just going to list a few of those, and hopefully I can get to 10. So I think the first moment of magic it's not to do with mediumship in essence. It's more of the background, things that things are opening up for you. Your mind is opening, and it left that wow moment for me. And there was a scenario when I had to drive to my dad's, who lives 400 miles away, and I was driving to go and see him. I decided to drive through the night, and at the time I was driving a Nissan car, and I was driving through the A66, which is a very rural road. It's known for weather conditions. It could be midsummer and you can get a snowstorm. It's a crazy part of the world, and it's right over the moors. And my car broke down, and it broke down about 3 a.m. in the morning. And I just thought, I'll wait to see where I am. I'll let the sun come up and see where I am. In the distance, as the sun light was just breaking the sky, I could see a row of 4 houses. And I thought to myself, I'll just let one of them lights turn on, and then I'll go and knock on the door and ask if I can use their phone. It was a time when we didn't have mobiles in our pockets or anything like that. It was mainly landline, so it was many years ago, but the memory stays so strong with me. Anyway, in the distance, a light goes on. Third house up out of a row of 4 in the middle of nowhere. A light goes on. I goes over and I knocks on the door, and I ask him and I explain the situation. Can I ring my dad and all that kind of stuff? I've broken down. And he said to me, give me a moment. He didn't invite me in, which I totally get, in a very early hours of the morning, some random guy from Essex banging on your door. And he was about 10 minutes. And he opened the door, he got dressed, he opened the door and he said, what's the problem? And I said, I've broke down on the road just up there. I need to ring my dad. And he said, oh, okay, what are you driving? I said, a Nissan, whatever it was. And the story kind of unfolded. Eventually he said, right, you walk back to the car and I'll come and I'll drive up and see what the problem is, see if I can fix it and get you on the way. So I make my way back, and it was about a 10-minute walk, I suppose. It was because they were right in the distance. And as I make it back to the car, he pulls up in a van, and on the side of this van was Nissan, and it was like body parts and spare parts. It was like a mobile mechanic for Nissan. It was unbelievable. He popped the bonnet, and my alternator had gone, and he happened to have a spare one in the van, which he gave me. He fixed the car and he sent me on my way. I didn't need the phone and I could just go. And that was just magical for me. Even now, still remember, like, wow, what are the chances of being in the middle of nowhere, knocking on a door out of 4 in the middle of moors, possibly like 300 miles away from where I live, and it's a Nissan dealer, Nissan mechanic with the parts in the van. So that was one magic moment that I remember that really stands out. The next magic moment, I'd suppose, was one where I was getting into development. You know, I had been invited to a circle. I kind of was starting to understand what the spirit world was. And I met someone that was very well known for their healing properties. You know, they were possibly world famous for their healing quality. They've wrote books, you know, they've done everything. And I happened to meet this person. It turns out I knew this person from my childhood, but through life changing, you know, that we went in different directions. And I went to their home. I had a meal with her and her husband, and the weekend was done. And that was like a Saturday, Sunday that I spent down there. And then on the Monday, I had Circle, which was about 2 hours away from the place that I had been. And there was four of us or five of us sitting there. And I remember very, very distinctly that the lights went out. It was quite eerie thinking about it as I'm recording this video. The lights went out, but there was a glow in the background from like a kitchen light or something like that in this spiritual church. And with that, I felt with what felt like a tap. And my arm kind of moved. And it wasn't that my arm got flung in the air. It was, I felt an awareness on my arm to make it not sound so creepy. And with it, I was like, I had the idea that I wanted to follow this feeling. So off I went, followed the feeling. And there was like the other four people that were in the room was like, oh my God, there's like a mist or something going on your right hand side, Charlie. And I was like, yeah, I know, this is well weird, this is well strange. And I said, I feel like I want to go with it. So I went with it. I walked about 40 feet, and I felt the urge just to reach out. It was pitch black in this corner. I reached out and I put my hand on something, and I asked someone, can we have a light? You know, so someone come over, gave me a light, and my fingertip was on the book of the person that I had just spent the weekend with. So completely guided in my opinion. And again, one of those magic moments. I was going through a huge change in my world, you know, my job security and all that kind of stuff. And there was this one time where I was still battling. There was still resistance. Are they there? Aren't they there? And it was, you know, self-doubt and all that kind of stuff going on in my mind. And I remember my car really, I damaged it in some way, not crashing, but like mechanically something was wrong. And my car was my only means at the time. I was really struggling financially, trying to raise a young family, trying to be good, you know, and trying to stay on the straight and narrow as best I could. And now my car needs work on it. And at the time it was something like £294.76. It was something like that. And I remember almost breaking down, like, I can't do this anymore. You know, if you're there, I need help. You need to help me. What was strange, it was November. I remember it so clearly. And the following morning, I received a letter in the post that was from the tax office, you know, and it was kind of like, November, that should be in April, you know, why is it in here in November? It's either late or extremely early. I don't know what's going on there. And I opened it up and it was for £294.77 return. So I had 1p more than I needed, which I found absolutely mind-blowing. Was that a spirit world? Is it coincidence? Who cares? I don't care. I don't think too much about it. It's just one of those magic moments that stick with me. A more recent one, like real recent, I spent Christmas in the Dominican Republic. Many of you remember from the videos. And I went away, needed to recharge, you know, this YouTube and the demonstrations I was ploughing in. You know, I'd clocked either easily over 200 dems that year in 2019. And I was feeling it. I was starting to get tired. A tremendous amount of teaching and readings and demonstrating and videos. And, I needed the recharge. Went to the Dominican Republic. And I promised myself I'm someone that's very active. I'm someone that has to be doing stuff all of the time. I'm like a kid, I suppose. I will annoy people until I feel that I'm doing something. Got to the Dominican Republic. It was beautiful weather. Had a bar in the swimming pool. I didn't move for 2 weeks, and I absolutely loved it. And I really, really recharged. I really calmed down. It was perfect. I absolutely needed it. Come back after 2 weeks. Needed to do a demonstration the next day. So I arrived home, I had the full day, had another full day, and then had to dem in that evening. So as normal, I would go and press the shirt, I'd grab my stuff, and away I'd go. What I didn't bank on was me at the age of 41 now, at the time of this recording. I was 40 at the time. I have never changed weight. I've never changed structure since I've left school. Always been this size. I've tried putting on weight. I've tried doing fitness and exercise and all that kind of stuff. It's never, ever changed. Not once. So the idea's never been in my head that, if you stop for 2 weeks, you might put on a little bit of weight. I gets to my dem to do it. I goes to put on my trousers. They were like sprayed on. I barely could get my legs in there, and the button was on its last thread before popping off. Now, the den went all right, but the entire time I was thinking the poor lady in the front row is going to get a button wang off her head in a very short moment when this button finally gives out. I've never been so self-conscious or embarrassed at the idea of something happening. It didn't distract from the den, but one of those blooper moments where I feel maybe I should have checked that I hadn't put weight on or my clothes still fit me before doing a big public dem. Another magical moment, I think, comes all the time. They come very regular when you work so hard at your mediumship. I'm someone that has dedicated absolutely everything to it. And I mean everything. Every moment that I had spare, I'd be looking at mechanics, or I'd be sitting with my team and trying to understand a little bit more, trying to perfect the instrument as such. And so I think any magic moment can go to something that you've been working so hard at, whether that be passing conditions or trying to get deeper information. So I think they're endless in that moment where you're trying to get the home address, or you're trying to get someone's phone number, or you're trying to go for whatever it is that you aspire to do. And I think that they come throughout the journey, almost to the point where they don't seem magical anymore because you're doing it so much. So I'm just putting that one out there, just for any mechanic that I try and I achieve through the help of my team, seems to be a magical moment. Another one's more of an awkward one. I would have, I won't say just in case the person does end up watching it, but I was abroad at some point doing sit-ins, demonstrations, workshop. And I always offer private sit-ins before the class, in my lunch breaks, and at the end of class. That way I can get through them and I don't have a huge backlog of readings. And there was this one time that a young lady wanted a sit-in, but there was something in the energy that wasn't right. I could tell that there was more of a motive there in some way. So I asked for a chaperone. My chaperone is definitely on the channel, so don't pipe up in the comments if you get this far in the video. And I realized that I needed someone sitting there just in case, just to protect myself, really, for any kind of story or whatever. I needed a chaperone in that room. And the young lady was with me, then she shot off, and then she had to come back to have her sitting. In the meantime, she had been off and she had got changed and showered and put a very, very tight top on. And strangely enough, a pink tutu, like a little frilly thing that went round, and a pair of knickers. And that's how she showed up to our reading. There was a little bit of debate about me having a chaperone in the room, but in the end, she had to agree, or there was no reading. To which she then sat on a chair and lifted her legs up, both of them, and sat there for the entire reading like that. That was super awkward, super awkward. That one stands out for me a little bit while I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm really struggling to find any kind of magical moment that stands out that I can talk about in a demonstration or in a reading, just through like confidentiality in most instances here. And the public dems are that they're not me, I'm just a voice. It's the spirit world that are doing that, and then it's down to the perception of people that are there. So I've kind of struggling to find any that I kind of want to share there. The ones that in the private sittings, there has been ones where we have found money, or that the family are looking for through a reading. They've come and asked, and I've directed them, and they have found what it is that they're looking for. People challenging you, I wonder how good he is. Can he do this? Can he do that? Let's test him. Which will be another video at some point, and then delivering on those ones. There is one, and this will be the last one. If you've survived this long, well done. But there was one that always stands out, and I think it was a touch of arrogance there in the beginning, and I think it served me well in this instance, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure if it's a magical moment or if it's a blooper moment, an awkward moment. I'm not sure, but you can be the judge of that, can't you? And I remember a gentleman turning up at my home address for a reading, and the booking was very normal, booked in, very normal, very polite on the phone, and all that kind of stuff. And he turns up for the reading. And as he knocks on the door, he's got an arm full of gear. He's got like tripods, he's got recorders, and all this electronic stuff I didn't know about, stuff I had no idea. I thought we were doing a reading, and here's this guy turning up with some sort of studio, that he can carry under his arms. And as he walks in, he was very boisterous, and he said, "You don't mind, do you? You don't mind?" And I was like, "No, I don't mind. What is it? Are you recording it? Because I record it for you. Don't worry about it." And he was like, no. This is like a meter that will tell me if the spirit world's in the room. This one will catch color. This will see if there's any temperature change. This will, this will do this. This will do that. And there was lots and lots of instruments that were gonna kind of surround me. Now the booking was for 30 minutes, and I reckon it took him 25 minutes to set all the stuff up. But he was so adamant, and I was like, yeah, crack on. I haven't got another booking for another few hours yet anyway. So crack on, set it up. And I got interested in it, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what's this one do? And he's being really smug about it. This one does this and this one does that. And I don't know if he was trying to get in my head to wobble me or anything like that. No idea. Anyway, the reading's about to commence. Everything's set up, everything's primed, everything's switched on, and I'm getting ready to hit record on my recorder. And I said to him, "I'm really curious. You're occupying my mind here, a mind that needs to be with the spirit world to bring through a communicator for you. So what happens when this goes off? Is there going to be a sound? Is it going to start screaming or recording? I don't know what to expect." And he said, "Oh, they're all alarmed. There are these triggers that will go off and you'll hear a sound." I said, "Oh, I'm not really happy with that. I'm sure I'll get through it, but what are you going to do if it goes off? What's going to happen there?" And he very smugly just sat back and was like, "We'll see." And then I then turned round and said, "Okay, let me begin." And as I moved my mind to the spirit world, your mother joins me. and 3 alarms went off on this equipment. I've never seen like the look that I saw on that guy's face. The color drained from him. I honestly thought he was going to die in front of me, honestly. And he's just jumped up and he's grabbed all his gear, what looked like very expensive gear. He's just throwing it together, grabbing it, threw money on the table, and run out my front door. I've never heard or seen from that man since. But that one kind of stands out for me. There's me thinking, you know, like if I had time to prep for that, I'd be worried. Is it going to work? Is it going to go off? Am I going to look fraudulent? Am I going to be? But I wasn't like that. It was more of, you've got this, right? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. And I hope to God that these things go off just to show this man that we are doing it and we're doing it correctly or properly, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there was a little bit of arrogance there when that alarm went off, and I was like, yes, well done, Spirit World. So I'm going to stop there. I've no idea the number of it. I'd be able to count it up in post. But for now, that's enough. Thank you very much, Danielle, for submitting the idea, and to Marie for selecting the video as the winner. Take the video, post it in your group, and here we are on the channel. So I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, I always offer and run competitions throughout. So you'll find that all on the website, mediumcharliekelly.co.uk, or the Facebook page is the most active thing that's going on at the moment, posting the Zoom with this lockdown and trying to give back and trying to offer more dates for people to get into development. Make sure you check that out if you're not already part of that. Subscribe here if you aren't already, and I'll see you all next time.